copy of a check for $380. $350, sorry.
What other expenses did you have?
One expense was time off work, lost wages, and I got to put paycheck stub in there. So that's
how many days did you take off from work?
1, 2, 3, 4, 7 different court dates for the city court, plus one that I had to take off recently to gather the information to fight this case.
7 days, and how much do you earn a day?
At that time, $80 a day.
What kind of work do you do?
Did concrete then, and I do concrete now.
Mr. Grieber, I am not persuaded by your case that on the date that you allege, which was the 21st of April 2006, that Mr. Princeton damaged your car, so I'm dismissing the claim. I am, however, convinced that when you filed this claim and you told the police the story about what happened, you left out some very vital details. Was that you had threatened grievous bodily harm to the defendant, and that was either a week or 3 weeks before. I also believe that you've been less than candid with me with regards to the relationship that you had with Caitlin. I am awarding defendant on his counterclaim $910. Your claim is dismissed.
They say that I've been intimate with this girl.
We did date, but
I've never kissed this girl or anything like that.
he don't want to admit it because his girlfriend is obviously here with him.
I hope it's no. I won't have to deal with him anymore.
It's like you shouldn't have asked her to verify it on TV.
Versus Barry. You're welcome, Judge President. Sworn in, you may be seated. Protest.
Mr. Flamini, you are not a witness to the events that took place during this ball game, but it is your claim that the defendant, probably while drunk, dented your car using his head.
Correct.
Fell or tripped over, or whatever, but damaged your car. The defendant vigorously denies the allegations. I'm not certain whether he recalls what happened on that day, but he says it just could not have happened. Give me the date of this incident.
It was December 3rd, 2005,
Where was it?
in downtown Los Angeles at the call scene, Los Angeles call scene.
How did we advise that your car was damaged?
I was exiting the game maybe a couple minutes early, and I just got back to my
Look
car.
at me, Steve. Stay focused on me.
I got back to my car. Well, my witness Jordan was calling me. Guess the calls weren't going through. I got back to my car, and he told me the whole story. I guess he talked to the police. The whole situation went back to my car.
Okay. You're Jordan?
Yes,
Jordan, you have a last name?
Yusuf.
Had you gone to the game together?
It was in the same car we went together, yes.
Why were you exiting separately?
I never got into the game. I don't have season tickets to the game. And we usually just end up buying tickets in the parking lot because it was a big game. Tickets were either too expensive or I just couldn't find tickets to get into the game.
So what did you do? You stayed out in the car?
Yeah, me and a buddy, we tailgated the game for barbecue. We bring a TV.
Is that what tailgating means? I wasn't sure. I read it in your complaint. It means you opened up the tailgate of the car and you sort of have a picnic in the parking lot.
Yeah, it was picnic, barbecue. We bring a TV, watch the pregame.
And they don't mind that you do that?
No. Football game, a lot of people do it at this particular parking lot. People get there early.
So you were outside?
Yes.
What happened?
It was towards the fourth quarter of the game. In the fourth quarter of the game, I was sitting at the back driver's side rear outside of the car watching the TV that was sitting in the tailgate or in the trunk of Piero's truck.
Can I answer that?
No.
I sidelined down the driver's side of the car and noticed out of the corner of my eye that someone had fallen at the front of Piero's car. I got up to see what had happened. I noticed there was a large dent in the front of Piero's car. I turned around for whatever reason, and there were actually 2 police officers on bicycles right behind me. I got their attention. By the time they came back and turned around within a matter of a few seconds, the person who had dented the car was gone. I described to the police officers what he looked like.
Do you recall what description you gave to the police officers?
Tall white guy, about 6'6".
Did you actually see him either fall or get up after he fell?
No, I saw him at the base of the car. The dent was right above the front driver's side wheel, and I saw him basically on the ground right there. When I went to go see what happened, I saw there was a dent in the car.
Now, when you went to see what happened, what did this person do?
He was still on the ground. He didn't do anything at that point. I noticed there was a dent, and because it wasn't my car, I didn't want to get involved in it. I had nothing really to do with it. I turned around for whatever reason. There happened to be 2 police officers there. By the time I got their attention and they came over to me with a matter of 10 feet, the person who was at the base of the car was gone. at that point.
So you actually saw the face of the person who entered the car?
No, I believe I saw their back.
Did you describe their clothing?
No.
So you saw only the back?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Described to the police officers what the person looked like. The police officers on the
From the
bicycle.
back?
From the back, yeah. Like basically a tall white guy.
And you could tell that from his position on the ground?
He was a big guy on the ground.
Okay.
Described to the police officers, they biked around within a few cars, 25-yard circle for a minute or so. Didn't see anyone. They came back to where I was at the car, and I asked him, I said, can I get a report so he can go to his insurance or whatever he wants to do. While we're in the process of doing this or getting the paperwork, the defendant walks right by us, me and the two police officers, and I told the police officer, I said, that's the guy who fell in the car.
How did you know that?
I recognized his clothing, and it looked just like the guy. There was nothing...
You didn't see his face. You
I
saw
didn't.
him from the back.
I didn't see his face, but he fit exactly the mold of what I saw there. I didn't see anything that was particularly unique about him, but he happened to walk right by us, and he matched the best description that I had that I gave to the police officers.
Okay.
And in fact, they actually pointed him out to me. They said, "Is that the guy?" I said, "Yeah, that's him."
Go ahead.
So they pulled him over, and he attempted to talk to me to resolve the situation.
What did he say to you?
He said, if I remember correctly, can I pay you right now, or how can we get this resolved without getting the police involved?
He said to you?
Yes, you were trying to speak to me.
But he said, can I pay you? Is that what he said?
I think that's what he was trying to get.
I'm trying to get. What did he say?
He didn't say pay me, he said, can we resolve this now? But it's not my car. I wasn't in a place to resolve it for Piero.
So you said no?
I actually told the police officer, I said, I'm not going to speak to him, I'll speak to you. I have nothing to say to him, it's not my car, it's not my place. If you can just get a report so I can give it to Piero and he can deal with it.
Fine. And this was the person who you had this brief conversation with, being someone who matched his description on the ground near a dent.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Michelle just saw the police officer.
No,
You're
Michelle
on.
was with me the whole time.
That's not true. Even Michelle's not going to say that to me because she doesn't want to wind up in my mouth.
And later today,
Nobody put your pedal to the metal, sir, except you. 109? That was your business. She shouldn't be responsible for any part of your bail.
real cases, real people, Judge Judy. Piero Fanini claims his vehicle was dented by Chris Barabie's head. Piero claims a drunken Chris fell into the vehicle.
Can I see pictures of the car, please? Mr. Fanini, you never had a conversation with the defendant, or did you?
I did have two conversations with him.
Your first conversation was when?
It was about maybe 2-3 weeks after.
Did you call him?
Yes, I did.
And what did you say to him, and what did he say to you?
He basically said, this is an unfortunate situation, like, hopefully we can resolve this, and he offered to pay for half of it.
To half the
The damages. Because I sent him an email, I have a string of emails sending him the damages and the field interview card. It's not a police report, but it's
Do you have any reply emails from him?
Yes, I do.
Can I see?
This is a police thing, and that's the email.
Okay, so now I'll hear you.
I was at the football game. I was tailgating in the same environment, obviously. At no point did I dent his car. I'd like to bring up how he recognized me being tall, just being on the ground, as one of the first inconsistencies in this whole story. Police officer grabbed my arm, said, "I need your information." I had no idea what he was talking about. It kind of came as a shock. Michelle was there. She saw that happen.
Michelle just saw the police officer.
No,
take your
Michelle
arm.
was with me the whole time.
That's not true. And even Michelle's not going to say that to me because she doesn't want to wind up in my mouth. No, you aren't. What do you do for a living, sir?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Promotional merchandise for conferences.
Are you a good salesman?
Sometimes.
So you're a businessman.
Yes.
Do you have people who work for you, or do you work for somebody else?
I'm self-employed.
Do you have employees?
No.
So you do this all yourself?
Yes, it's challenging.
Let's say you get an order from a big company, and they want to buy 1,000 cups. You call the people who make the cups and say, I want 1,000 cups, and I want this logo on it.
Correct.
Judge Judy.
I can do that.
And then all of a sudden, the people who make these cups call me and say, you know what? We can make it for you for half the cost. What do we need Chris for? pay Christopher for anything. You know, what is he doing? He's going to deliver them to you. That's ridiculous. Would you be angry? Of course. Because you want what you're entitled to. You wouldn't want to take credit for something that you didn't do. You made the sale. Somebody's trying to knock you out of the sale. It's being a businessman. I've just read a series of emails, Christopher. And in those series of emails, you clearly say to Mr. Fanini that you are prepared to accept the receipt. No, listen to me very carefully, sir.
I just agreed to at least meet and see what this is all about.
No, that's not true, sir. That's not true. That's a big thing, Chris. Sometimes you have to have a good memory. Because if you never lie, and if you always tell the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. The last thing that you say to him in your email was, I'll take the estimates and pictures to my family auto repair guy and see what he quotes us. And see what he quotes us. Now you're doing this because all of a sudden you became enamored with Mr. Panini?
The whole reason I'm doing this is because his friend had the police threaten me, and I don't know what this whole police report is all about, and I'm obviously fearing some sort of police involvement with something I have nothing to do. So I'm just trying to be a respectful person and talk with them about it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, please. Oh, please. Remember when I told you about the cup? You want the right people to get paid. You want the right people to get the credit. You want the wrong people to be let go. And Chris, 6'4", whatever it is, looked like a nice guy, got a nice girlfriend. You don't take the responsibility for something that you weren't involved with. In writing.
I'm not taking responsibility.
You are. You did. This, sir, I'm speaking. Don't speak when I speak.
Sorry.
She may permit that, I don't. Somebody who accepts responsibility by saying, let me take it and see if I can get it done cheaper, and if not, I'm trying to, please understand that I have a lot on my plate now, and I'm trying to resolve this as soon as I can.
I'm not accepting responsibility.
Well, sir, in legal terms, it's a good thing you're not a lawyer, because in legal terms, that is as close to an admission of guilt as you could possibly get. As close to. At any time, Christopher, after you left, did you call the police and say, listen, I gave this man my identification because I was told to give him my identification, but I want it indicated in your report that I never did anything to his car.
I tried to talk about it.
Instead, you had a series of emails back and forth, no less than 4, all of which acknowledged financial responsibility for this.
Can I speak about the inconsistencies in their testimony?
I'm not relying on their testimony, sir. We never made an identification of you by your face. We made an identification of you generally by your clothing description. If that was all that there was, the case would have been dismissed. Period. End of discussion.
I was dressed the same as all other 100,000 people.
Listen to me. I want you to listen to me. Put on your listening ears, sir.
Okay.
If all that there was to this case was Jordan's testimony about his identification of you, the case would have been dismissed. I would not have been satisfied that you were properly identified as the person who fell into his car and vented it. No question. Your emails were all the confession that I needed. Your acknowledgement of fiscal responsibility and being prepared to accept financial responsibility was all that I needed to say somebody who is an intelligent, articulate person, at least he would put it in his email. Listen, I didn't do this damage to your car, but I want to resolve this. No, listen to me. I didn't do this damage to your car. However, in order to resolve this issue so that we don't have to go any further with it, I accept responsibility to pay half of the damage. Do you want me to show you your emails? You're going to point out to me where you say that anywhere? No, you didn't.
Read that in there, but that's not what I'm talking about. I mean, I talked to him over the phone and admitted that I didn't do it. I talked to him about it.
Show me in the email where you say that, sir.
There was communication other than the emails.
Well, then it serves a very important lesson to everybody. Don't put it in writing. Just for the plaintiff came out to $915. That's all.
What is your excuse? You guys don't know. I would imagine a football hit, anything.
I would not have remembered hitting his head.
That was my first USC football game, and, I'll go back again. I'll just, I don't know, have better luck, I guess.
I think she made a good decision and, glad it's over with.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter, Pritzkow versus Chamberlain. Step forward, please.
19-year-old Sarah Pritzkow is suing her ex-boyfriend, 23-year-old Bradley Chamberlain, for bail money and the return of her class ring.
Mr. Chamberlain, how old are you, sir?
23.
How tall are you?
6'2".
How much do you weigh?
220.
Do you work, go to school? What do you do?
Work.
What do you do?
I sell cinder block. Sell cinder block.
Good salesman?
Try to be.
Who's this lady?
It's my mother.
Do you live at home or you live outside the home?
I rent the downstairs from her.
Pays you rent? He does. Pretty responsible?
Yes,
Trust his judgment?
absolutely.
Miss Britzkow, this is what this case is about. You needed a ride to school, and you and Mr. Chamberlain were friends
We were boyfriend-girlfriend.
at that time.
Yes.
He was going to give you a ride to school, and on the way to school, he was driving much too fast.
Yes, sir.
How fast were you driving, Mr. Chamberlain?
When the police officer pulled me over, I was doing 109.
And you were taken into custody
Yes, ma'am.
because you were going really fast,
Yes.
and she bailed you out.
Correct.
She wants her money.
Yes, ma'am.
And she says that you also have some class key or something that belongs to her.
A class key and a class ring.
And you said you gave her half the bail, and the other half should be her responsibility.
That's what she agreed to pay with my mother.
Why would she pay any part of your bail?
Because I was doing her a favor in driving her down to school.
You see where we were going, Mr. Chamberlain, with those preliminary questions, sir? 6'2", 220 pounds, a responsible salesman. Nobody put your pedal to the metal, sir, except you. 109? That was your business.
Well, she was wanting me to rush down there so she would be on time to school.
If she said to you, look, this is what I want you to do. I'm sort of short on cash. So I want you to pull into that convenience store and pull the hoodie over your head, put a bandana over here, and I want you to go and hold up the store because I need some money. Would you do that?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
It's against the law.
There you go. You got my drift, sir.
Yeah, I understand.
So if you got stopped for a crime and were arrested for a crime and were guilty of a crime, it's not because she importuned you to get her to school faster.
Sure.
Good. Now, Mr. Chamberlain says he gave you back some money. Did he?
No, I haven't seen a penny.
You say that you actually took money and put it in Miss Britzkow's hand. Is that right?
Yes, on about
When?
October 8th, she came up for the weekend, calling, asking if she could have her money as well as the stuff back. So we agreed to meet her at a dealership, which is where I had worked at the time, and me and my brother went over there. I called my mom, asked her if she could loan me the half the money to give to her. My mom brought $250 as well as all the items which I had in a bag down in my bedroom. She had brought those as well as $250 to the dealership where we gave it to her.
Who actually put
I handed it to her.
$250 in her hand?
I handed it to her.
And you say that didn't happen?
No, I wasn't even up on October 8th.
Were you there at any part of the month of October?
Twice. Once.
Okay, so who cares what date it is? He says he gave you $250 plus some things that belong to you. What things did you have in the
I
bag?
actually gave her $250 for my mom and $50 for my own pocket.
What things did you have in a bag that you gave her?
I believe it was a teddy bear, a blanket, and her jewelry, which was the class ring.
The jewelry was just the class ring,
There was a couple things, and I think the key was in there as well.
and you returned it to her
Yes.
in the parking lot.
No, it was on the front steps of the dealership.
And your brother was with
My
you.
mother were both there.
Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Skip up. What time of the day was this?
It was about 8:30, 9 o'clock at night, just before the dealership closed.
Where did you get the jewelry from?
It was in a bag in his bedroom downstairs. And he called, asked if I'd go downstairs and get it, and bring that, and bring $250 out of the safe.
Not happening. If I had my class ring, I'd be wearing it right now.
When did you break up?
In the early beginnings of October.
Early in October. So if he was going to give you this money and return your property, October 8th or thereabouts would have been just about the right time. Is that right? Anything else you want to tell me, Ms. Pritzker?
Yeah, I have documentations of the bail I paid, written amount, everything.
Let's say the bail was $600. I believe that he paid you $300, and I believe that he returned any jewelry.
I wasn't.
I believe it. That's my job.
But I wasn't even there, Your Honor.
Well, you established to me that you weren't there at any time at the beginning of October.
I wasn't. I was there after the 17th.
John's case number 21 found in the matter of Jesse versus Virginia. Vice sworn in judge, may proceed. Please listen.
According to what I read in the complaint several years ago, you knew Mr. Legant, who was a psychic reader.
Yes, Your Honor.
He owns a psychic school. How long had you known him?
I first met him in 1998.
How?
I saw an advertisement of his when I was pregnant.
And have you been using him for readings since?
Counseling, Yes.
What particular training do you have?
Clairvoyant training of a 1-year intensive, 3 years of teacher's training. I have over 6 years of training. I also have my certificates if you'd like to see those.
In any event, you wanted to take a trip, and Mr. LeGrand was interested in going, discussed that he didn't have the money. According to you, you loaned him the money to go. The understanding was that he would pay you back either in cash or readings. He went on the trip. For a while, he did that paying back by doing readings. Somebody would keep a record of, I assume, how much each reading was, and you would check off how much was left on the debt. At some point, he missed scheduled appointment.
Well, actually, Your Honor, he was making payments also. There was no set schedule for our appointments. It was whenever we
So he was paying in cash as well?
Actually, yes. That was mostly the agreement.
In check and or cash?
He would deposit directly into my account, and sometimes he paid in cash, and sometimes he wrote a check. I have a deposit slip.
I mean, he had your bank account number?
Well, yes.
Do you have a social relationship with him?
Well, it wasn't very friendly in terms of a social relationship, and we knew each other professionally, and I trusted him as a teacher and my mentor.
All right, so I see you made some payments to her.
Correct.
So you consider this a loan?
No.
Well, what was it for?
It was a donation.
No. What was the money that you paid her?
That was the interest. Initially, this is the third trip I've been on with Miss Jessie.
We're talking about only this one, sir.
Okay. So in this case, Miss Jessie wanted me to go on a second trip to the Philippines. I clearly explained to her that that was not something I could afford. So she decided to make a donation to the school so that the school could sponsor my trip. In exchange for that donation, she was to receive hours of reading. The payment she received was when she asked for me to cover the interest on her visa. And I agreed to do that. I was grateful for the donation. I was grateful for the donation. I have the donation right here. I have the check. It says donation with a big smiley face.
Were these paid out of a private account or the school account?
Paid out of the school account.
So all these checks were school checks, none yours.
Right.
While mosaics depict creatures and signify their respect for the natural world. Without harnessing nature's ship of the desert, the camel, the Nabateans may not have been so wealthy and created such a monumental city. into the mountains through Wadi Rum, conceal ancient rock drawings. Etched more than 2,000 years ago by nomadic tribes, they depict the relationship between man and beast. Wadi Rum was an important route for traders. The Nabateans who built Petra owed their wealth to controlling the oases of this region, and the camels that were the ships of this desert. Today, Bedouin tribes still live among the mountains of Wadi Rum and maintain this relationship with the camel. For generations, they've been their only support and the only means of survival here. By mid-morning, the temperature is already reaching the high 30s. For the Bedouin, the turban is an essential garment, protecting them from the sun and heat. But the camel comes with its own protection. The camel's fur coat reflects the sunlight, insulating her from the heat. It means they rarely sweat. They even trap and recycle water vapor in their nostrils when breathing, and return it back to their body. Carrying nearly 100 kilos, good footwear is essential for travel. A large leathery pad with 2 toes at the front helps make the gait of a camel silent and keeps it from sinking into the sand. While thick leathery skin on its leg joints enable it to kneel on the hot sand when it's time to rest. Skills passed down through the generations are a matter of life and death. The sun acts as the Bedouin's GPS, so it's time to rest his camels and make a fire to ward off any creatures of the night. As dusk falls, an ancient monster begins to hunt. Some people believe these creatures feast on sleeping camels, earning them the name, the camel spider. But this nocturnal hunter is not a camel eater or a spider. This monster of the night is a locust killer. Large, powerful jaws seize their prey, and digestive fluids liquefy the victim's flesh, making it easy to suck the remains into her stomach. Part of the arachnid family, it's known as a solifugid, meaning those who flee from the sun. And this is now her shadowy domain. As soon as the sun sets, the desert cools considerably. Night temperatures can drop to 0 degrees Celsius. As the sun returns, they can reach their peak within just a few hours. A desert ant is out in the heat of the day. But he is banking on the sun's help.
Well, that's not very nice. But thanks to Remote Smart Parking Assist, it's no problem for the all-new Hyundai Sonata. It can pull itself in and out tight parking spots without you being in the car. The all-new Sonata, the longer you look.
It's not the school's account, is it?
Oh, no. I may have used that account to make a check payment. That's entirely possible.
What?
See that?
What? You didn't see that one coming at all? This one. Your account or the school's account?
That's my account.
Uno más. Understand.
Also my account. Your Honor,
Stop. I'm not going to read your account number, sir, but it also appears that when cash was deposited directly into her account, it was deposited directly into her account with the same numbers on the accounts that were on these checks.
Can I see that?
Yes, certainly. Here you go.
So his movements aren't so random. Stopping and turning, he actually orientates using the sun. With his escape route plotted, he heads straight for home. Finding shelter from this sun and sand-blasted environment can be critical. A young camel spider hasn't been so lucky. But it gives him a huge opportunity. In the desert, ant colonies do everything to avoid losing water, so go out foraging alone. This is proving too big for him to manage. However, this is an opportunity not to be wasted. Reinforcements come to the rescue, but they've got to be quick in the midday sun. As the clock counts down, ants take over from each other before the sun claims them too. Finally, they win and claim their prize. The sun has far-reaching powers, but its penetrating rays also have many benefits for Jordan's wildlife. The southern coast meets the Red Sea. Corals need sunlight to survive, as they grow from algae that live inside. It's this algae that produces oxygen for them and provides food, helping them grow faster. The sun also feeds coral like it would do a plant. Pulsing polyp coral move water through the colony, which increases oxygen levels. As new water is pulled in, it improves photosynthesis rates by up to 10 times. In turn, this ecosystem provides food for larger marine life, like the hawksbill turtle. They play a key role in this ecosystem's health.
That's interesting. Because when I call...
Using their sharp hook, they expose the soft internal parts to other sponge-eating animals. The turtle's peculiar diet also helps keep sponge populations in check, freeing up space on reefs for other organisms to settle and grow. Feeding and growing this underwater world, the sun has far-reaching benefits, even below the surface. As another normal day sets over Jordan, an extraordinary journey comes to an end. Having traveled over sandy dunes and rocky deserts, across mountains and through canyons, our darkling beetle finally reaches her haven. Sea air provides some desert plants with much needed moisture. A bounty fit for a queen provides a feast of seeds and thirst-quenching flowers. Short, feeler-like pulps act like fingers to handle her food, while her mouthparts shear through the vegetation. And a good source of food attracts others too. This micro-oasis not only provides food, but a safe place.
When I called the bank to get copies of this so that I would know in preparation for you, they explained to me there was no way to trace that information.
Well, you do see what I'm looking at,
I do see what you're looking at, and the agreement I had with her was to pay the interest on her card.
All I'm asking you is whether the cash and the checks that she ascribes to this loan came out of the school's account or out of your personal account. So you would be saying now that it came out of your personal account.
Obviously. I believe it was. I believe there were others that were taken from the school.
I'm looking to see yours.
And
You have
like
any
I said,
proof?
the bank said they
No,
couldn't trace this
listen
information.
to me, son. Show me any checks that you have from the school.
While the sun can be damaging, it also has the power to breathe new life. Like the ancient civilizations that once flourished here, the creatures of Jordan are led by the sun's never-ending cycle. For both the sun worshippers and nighttime assassins, each day brings new hope, new challenges, and new opportunities. From arid landscapes to hidden corners, Jordan's natural world manages to live life in the balance. And Survive nature's furnace.
The Lake District, also known as Lakeland, is one of the United Kingdom's most picturesque areas. Located in the northwest of England, near the Scottish border and just 5 hours' drive from London, this mountainous region is a popular holiday destination. The Lake District National Park, occupying the region's central area, is the biggest tourist draw. The jewel of the Lake District is undoubtedly Lake Windermere, framed by the highest mountains in the country, some of which reach nearly 1,000 meters or approximately 3,300 feet high. At its longest, Lake Windermere extends to nearly 18 kilometers or 11 miles. Along the lake's eastern shore, the small village of Bowness-on-Windermere charms even from a first glance. For over 150 years, it has attracted lovers of nature and the great outdoors, who come to admire this magnificent lake, whose depths have been carved out by thousands of years of melting glaciers. But this lake also hides a fascinating mystery. A strange creature lives in its depths, surfacing only occasionally to surprise tourists and unsuspecting fishermen.
I saw some strange disturbance under the water. About a foot under the water, I would say, and it was like a churning kind of motion under the water in a horizontal fashion.
Get the sense that the boat was going to rock from side to side or have an impact on it.
It was 3 lumps, really. I kind of saw around about 3 lumps in the water, the classic kind of Loch Ness shape.
I panicked because I'm in the water, I'm alone, and I feel there's something there. What's going to happen?
I would describe it as a sea monster.
From now on, I should probably just be a better judge of character and get to know someone a little bit better before I go into business with them. I don't need to team up with anybody. Like, I just need to do me like I was doing before. I just need to do Jen the Pen by myself so that there's no I'm getting into fights with girls over dumb things.
Look, in hindsight, maybe if I'd have just paid a little bit more attention to what was going on, we'd have got spared all the drama.
I know, and that's why I'm mad at myself for even doing it with her. Like, I didn't.
But you just know, that's hindsight is 2020. There's no way you could have known. Like, I gotta partially blame myself. Why would I let you go work with her if I could help?
You know how you tell me?
Applauded the verdict. Others were stunned. Homicide Detective Tom Lang of the Los Angeles Police Department was one of the men in charge of overseeing the evidence collection at the crime scene.
There are people on death row. Death row. There are people that have indeed been put to death on much, much less evidence. And 1/10 of that evidence.
Defense attorney Barry Sheck was a member of Simpson's Dream Team and one of the most vocal critics of how the evidence against O.J. Simpson was collected and processed.
The way that crime scene was handled by the criminalists from the Los Angeles Police Department, by the people in the crime lab when they did the initial DNA testing, and by the medical examiner's office was shameful.
Soon after the trial began, it became clear that more than Simpson was on trial. Forensic science would also have its day in court. Could the evidence and the methods under which it was collected withstand the defense team's harsh scrutiny? There were no eyewitnesses to the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ronald Goldman. But from the very beginning, the prosecution thought strong circumstantial evidence pointed to the killer. In the Brentwood section of Los Angeles, in the early morning of June 13, 1994, a dog led some neighbors to the front walk of Nicole Brown Simpson's condominium. There lay the mutilated bodies of Nicole Brown and Ronald Goldman. Their killer, or killers, had slit their throats. Bloody shoe prints and drops of blood to the left of them led away from the murder scene toward a back alley. Police believed the prints belonged to someone who'd been bleeding from the left hand as he quit the scene. Also found near the bodies were a blood-soaked glove and a pullover cap. The killer had apparently left them behind. After the crime scene had been secured, the officers called the Homicide Division. Detective Lang received a call at 3 a.m. on the 13th to take charge of the investigation. He arrived at the scene around 4:25 a.m.
The first impression was that it was an overkill, probably some type of rage killing, that there was one killer.
The ground was littered with potential clues. A leather glove, a ski cap, Ronald Goldman's pager, and his car keys, a dog's footprints in the blood, and one set of size 12 shoe prints leading away from the bodies. Detectives had to determine which were important. They started with the blood.
Along with the heel-to-toe stride analysis of the bloody shoe prints, told us that the source was in fact walking. Not what you would expect after committing a brutal double murder. There's an interruption in his gait, and he stops, and there's 2 or 3 prints that point back towards where he was, indicating the possibility that the killer stopped and looked back. Now, when he did that, was he looking, say, hey, I lost my cap, I lost my glove, should I go back and get them? No, I better get out of here, it's very dark down there. So that may have been that hesitation in that stride that we saw in his bloody shoe prints.
Today, your information is more exposed than ever. When you shop, bank, or browse online, you're vulnerable to cyber criminals. More threats demand more protection. That's why Norton and LifeLock are now one, combining device security, VPN for online privacy, and LifeLock identity theft protection.
School to payment. I do, however, see some checks, sir, that just say Bank of America, and it looks like they're from a different account.
That's right.
So sometimes you paid out of your personal account, and sometimes you paid out of a school account. getting my drift, sir?
Not fully.
Well, when you have a business and you start commingling money as to what is a business expense and what is not, you have a serious problem. And clearly, in looking over this paperwork, it appears to me as if you were commingling what you considered a business expense with a private debt. The IRS doesn't like that. You should look at that.
I did what I could to make sure she received her interest payments in a timely manner.
Don't you make a living from this company?
Yes, I do.
And you should have paid her. Not commingled funds. That's a very bad thing, Mr. Grant. The commingled funds, the IRS is going to come and get you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I left him a voicemail saying that, I think that this was unfair, and at which point he sent me an email.
I would like to see the copy of the email that you sent to her.
I was very angry.
And later today,
I hit the throttle, and the whole transom with the motors mounted to almost drove right off the boat. And the gas tank came completely disconnected and spilled gas all over the floor of the boat.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Kathy Jesse claims psychic Leon Legent borrowed money from her and never paid it back. Leon says the loan was repaid with free psychic readings. He is countersuing for slander.
Can you tell me what happened that precipitated this lawsuit?
He had made his last payment in November, and in December he promised me a payment on December 20th. And I was counting on that, and it was Christmas time, and I didn't get the payment. And I had an appointment with him scheduled for the 22nd, which I was going to discuss the matter with him. And then he didn't show up for the appointment and didn't let me know.
Does he come to your house, or do you go to
No,
his
it's a telephone. It's a telephone.
It's a telephone?
Yes, we hardly ever see each other in person. And so I left him a voicemail saying that, I think that this was unfair and I should be treated better. And at which point he sent me an email saying that he really thought that was the most mean, vicious thing anybody had ever said to him. And he really, literally never talked to me again.
What did she say on the voicemail?
She was incredibly ugly. I never finished both voicemails because it was too irate and too mean, too vicious, attacking everything she could think of, everything she knew about. Basically what happened in the beginning of December, I was still working with her and getting her readings. She explained to me that she lost her job, she was afraid she was going to lose the mortgage on her house, that she was in an incredibly strapped financial position. She began asking me if I could borrow money from my balance off, and I explained to her that the agreement was in exchange with readings. This was not...
Well, that's not true, sir. That's not true, because there were payments made both out of the school's account and out of your personal account.
That was interest.
That's what you say. That's not what I find. Keep going.
So she was explaining all of this to me. I explained to her that this was not the agreement, this was not what I was going to do. She pressured me for a number of weeks. She did ask me to make a payment on the 20th in December because 25th was a Sunday and also Christmas. I explained to her that I get paid on a certain date. It takes a number of days to clear the bank. I'll do the best I can to try to do that, but that may not happen. And that went in one ear right out the other.
All right, good. Did you make a payment in January?
I did not make a payment in December.
Did you make a payment in January, is my question.
Or since.
Right. Why not?
Because she threatened to sue me.
She didn't sue you in January, did she?
No, she filed, actually on January 20th, I was on the way to the bank because she had left these voicemails. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to handle this situation, and I told her that I would get back to her in January.
Well, so you were sort of checking her around.
No.
Because you didn't pay the amount in December, because you said you get paid on a certain day, you don't know whether it'll clear and whatever. All right, so you don't pay it December 20th, you don't pay it December 23rd. There's December 27th, December 28th, December 29th, December 30th, December 31st. She doesn't hear from you until January 20th?
She received an email from me explaining that I felt her messages were incredibly mean. And
well, show me the copy. You have the email? I would like to see the copy
sure.
of the email that you sent to her.
I was very angry.
People who owe money usually are angry. Okay, so they were the meanest, cruelest, etc. Her two voice messages, and you choose to cut her off and not have anything to do with her until the holidays are over in December, because you don't want to be bothered during the holidays with any bad vibrations. And I'll let you know how I plan to handle the future
in January. Well, what'd you do at the beginning of January? So the holidays are over.
Yeah, I was thinking about how to handle the situation. I wasn't sure how to do that. The 20th was coming by in January. I decided
what,
to
the
make
20th?
it the 20th of January.
Well, so you were thinking between January 2nd and January 20th.
That's right.
Let me hear you counterclaim, Mr. LeGrand.
After Miss Jessie complained about this December incident, she did request communication from me. I did say that I would communicate with her in January about the situation. Before I had a chance to do that, she went to my website. She scoured through all of the emails, addresses, everything she could get, and began emailing everybody from clients, students about the situation. Very, very crazy emails.
Well, show me.
Sure. Here's one she sent to the travel agent. I'll give you all of them. And also, as far as missed appointments, that has happened in the past.
I'm not interested in that. All she does is talk to whoever she talks to about the fact that you owe her money.
These are my students.
Who cares?
She ripped off my website.
Who cares? Shouldn't have had them on your website.
It
Need one.
hasn't made a business.
Listen to me. She's entitled to do that. She doesn't slander you, sir. She says that you have an honest dispute with her. She believes you owe money, and you are not paying her the money that you owe her. She doesn't say anything scandalous about you. You may not like it, but she doesn't say anything that's actionable. Can you please explain to me how a school professing to be spiritual and ethical can attempt to steal this money loaned in good faith? That's the way she feels.
It wasn't a loan.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something, sir. And I'm telling you that it was a loan. It was a loan because you repaid it. And you not only repaid it, you repaid it, some of it out of your funds and some of it out of school funds, which you can't do.
That's not correct.
Listen. Some of the people that you deal with, Mr. LeGrand, may revere you as being some sort of spiritual leader. I guarantee you. I'm not one of those people. All right? I'm telling you, you went on a trip. You slept, you ate, you took a plane, not the spirits, your body took the plane to the Philippines and had a nice trip. Pay for it. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $2,697. That's all.
Parties are excused and they step out. I missed an appointment.
I think that he has some talent.
He decided to use that as an excuse to refuse readings and demand money.
But that he needs to work a little bit more on his character.
Oh, I want to have nothing to do with it.
I think he's his own worst enemy and he's on a self-destructive course.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Schumacher versus Graham. Step forward, please.
Kristen Schumacher is suing family friend, 25-year-old Evan Graham, for the balance on a boat. Evan says Karen sold him a piece of junk.
Ms. Schumacher, you sold the defendant a boat.
I did.
Defendant was somebody that you knew?
Yes.
And you had an arrangement. He gave you a deposit, and he took possession of the boat. He was supposed to pay you the balance in a week or so. He never paid you the balance. You want the balance on the boat.
Correct.
And Mr. Graham says that he relied on your friendship, that this was a good boat. It ended up being a lemon, and you ripped him off, and he's not paying anymore.
Yes.
How old are you, sir?
23.
You work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a plumbing company.
Very good. So you're in business?
Yes.
You deal with contracts, is that right?
Yes.
When did you buy the boat, sir?
It would have been the end of August.
Give me the date.
August 18th.
And that's when you agreed on a price. Is that right?
Correct.
Yes.
What was the price you agreed on, Mr. Graham?
$3,500.
So there was an offer to sell the boat and an acceptance of the price, correct?
Correct.
Was this a verbal contract?
Yes.
And you gave her a deposit?
Of $800.
And you took possession of the boat?
Correct.
And then what happened, Mr. Graham?
I bring it out to the lake, test drive it, and I want to run.
Why didn't you make an arrangement with Ms. Schumacher for a test drive of the boat before you bought it?
Because she was a family friend, so if there was any problems, we could work it out.
Who said that?
It's an assumption.
What did you do with the boat?
I bring it to a mechanic, spent $1,200.
Just a second. Did you take it out on the 18th? Or did you take it out later?
It might have been the 19th.
Was it the 18th or the 19th?
He purchased it on the 18th. I tagged and licensed it for him the morning of the 19th. Then he took it from the property about 10 a.m. in the morning, I believe.
On the 19th?
On the 19th.
When did he call and tell you he was having trouble with the boat?
On the 20th.
Okay. And you took it to your mechanic, you put in $1,200.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
And you were satisfied that it was done?
Yes.
So you took it back to the water. When?
It would have been roughly about a week after I purchased it by the time he was done the work.
So the 27th.
Yeah, roughly. So I bring it back out, and now with it running correctly, I hit the throttle, and the whole transom with the motors mounted to almost broke right off the boat. And the gas tank came completely disconnected and spilled gas all over the floor of the boat. So I'm in the middle of the lake with a boat full of gas, and the transom's completely cracked.
When was the last time, Mr. Graham, that you drove this boat?
Early September.
No, I'm talking about before you purchased it.
I've never driven the boat in my life before I purchased it.
You purchased the boat. You waited until the boat was titled in your name till the next day, and you came and got it. You had trouble with it. You buy a used boat, that sometimes happens. You took it to your mechanic had the boat for an entire week. And I'm not prepared to say that whatever he did to causal connection to what the trouble was that you ultimately had with the boat. I don't know, quite frankly. All I know is that you and Ms. Schumacher had a contract, and you have to abide by the terms of that contract. Do you understand?
Not completely, no.
Well, I tried to explain it to you in the most simplistic terms I can. Would you like me to use monosyllables?
No, maybe you could explain the part about if you have a contract and she says it runs good and instructionally sound and it's not. Doesn't that void a contract?
You have a writing that says that she is selling this boat in good running order, no mechanical problems, and you're buying the boat contingent upon that? Do you have that?
No, it was a verbal contract.
Your verbal contract is the simplistic one, Mr. Graham, because if I were to ask her whether she tells me that she guaranteed to you when you purchased that boat that she said it was structurally sound and mechanically sound, what do you think she's going to tell me?
Your Honor, I did tell him the boat was running well.
You told him it was running well. The last time you rode the boat was when?
The summer before, which would have been the end of August, last week in August.
So you hadn't driven it
That's right.
for 1 year?
Right. It was parked for the winter because it's a small ski boat and you don't take it out in the winter.
The last time you rode the boat, was it running well?
Ran fine.
Did you know the boat had been sitting there for a year?
Yes.
Out of the water?
Yes.
Mr. Graham, you're with the money. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,200. That's all.
Mr. Brown.
I feel Mr. Graham has been dishonest.
It doesn't run?
From the beginning.
Can it sink on me?
I believe they didn't have the bleed valve closed.
Gas tank's not hooked up?
And the gasoline filled in the boat.
Got towed by a sheriff?
I think it's unfair that Mr. Graham couldn't be responsible.
It's sitting parked. There's no title for it.
For what he caused, and I had to wait so long to get paid.
What can you say?
Duties Rodriguez, sworn in, may be seated, folks. Have a seat.
Ms. Levine, this used to be your boyfriend, and according to your complaint, he owes you for a plane ticket and for a cell phone bill.
Yes.
Mr. Rodriguez says the cell phone was your idea in order to keep in touch with him, and he never used the plane ticket.
Yes.
How long did this romance go on? For how many months?
About 8 months.
And when did you get involved with his cell phone business?
In July of 2006.
How long had you known him?
7 months.
In his cell phone business a month before you broke up.
Correct.
Tell me how that came about.
He had been complaining he had wanted a new phone, and he was on his father's plan. His father would not allow him to get a new phone, and we had discussed getting him a new phone with a different carrier so that we could talk for 3 minutes. Also, we had a verbal agreement that if I bought him a new phone, he would pay me back as soon as he got his check that month in July.
Where were you working?
I was a nanny. I was working as a nanny.
And what was he doing?
Nothing.
Well, when was he supposed to pay you for the cell phone?
Well, he said he was getting another check in July from the school district.
What kind of work does he do for the school district?
He was a campus supervisor.
When was the bill that you claimed he owes you? Was it a bill or was it the actual cell phone?
There's two. I paid for the cell phone in July, and then there was also a bill that has accrued since we started the phone.
How much was the phone itself?
$229.30.
And how much was the bill?
The bill now is $724.38.
For how many months?
That was the last statement I got was in March of this last year.
Why didn't you just cut off the phone?
I did end up shutting off the phone. That was after he racked up all of the charges. He had promised to pay the bill every month. I had set up the bill to go to his address. His name was on it as well. My name was just used for credit purposes. So he got the statement every single month in the mail to his address, and he told me he was paying it.
You mean after you broke up?
Yes. Well, when I set up the phone in July, he
He said he would pay it, but this $724 isn't for 1 month,
No.
for 2 months, and according to you, you broke up in August.
We did break up in August, and I paid the first bill in September, and then...
You did? Why?
Because he had called me. I was out of town. He called me and told me he needed the bill paid, and I didn't want it to go into collections at that time, so I did pay it over the phone.
And what about the next month's bill?
He told me he paid it. I was on the phone with Verizon. He said I
Let's
sent a
talk
check.
about the cell phone. Get the plane ticket in a second. Talk.
She knew that I was out of work, working for the school district. It's a 10.5-month job.
Well, then that's what you do for a living. You work for a school district. That's a 10.5-month job.
Right. And she was well aware.
Don't tell me what she was aware of, sir. I want to hear your explanation of needing a new telephone.
I did not need a new telephone. I was perfectly fine with the one that I had underneath my father's plan. The only reason that she wanted me to have the cell phone was so that we could talk for free. And we could text message for free.
Okay, so as one of your famous, fabulous 5 friends?
Something along those lines, yeah.
I don't do that. I don't have 5 people that I want to speak to that often. Let's discount the phone for a second, Mr. Rodriguez. What about your cell phone bill? Why didn't you pay that? What?
I had no money. I was out of work. I wasn't out of work, but I wasn't working.
Well, get a job, sir.
I had a job.
Then don't talk on the cell phone.
We broke up in August, and after August, the phone was never used.
Oh, show me. Can I see a bill? If that's true, if the phone was never used after August, is that what you're telling me?
The phone, once we broke up, the phone was...
That's the bill.
No, all I want to know is, you're saying to me, once you broke up in August, the phone was never used.
Correct.
He did not rack up $500 in a month.
Oh, no. I need the bills from September, October, November. This doesn't tell me anything, madam.
It says what the charges are.
For what month?
For all of them. The phone wasn't shut off until December.
I understand that the phone wasn't shut off until December, but there's a factual dispute. If he says that he didn't after you broke up, then some credence to his story that you decided to get this phone so that the two of you could either chat or text message each other for nothing. One phone bill doesn't do it for me. Do you understand?
I understand that, yes.
Do you have the others with you?
I do not have any other phone bills with me.
Here, give this back to her for now.
That was the only way I was able to get a hold of him was his cell phone. So I did talk to him on the cell phone.
That's not my statement to you, madam. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Fine. So, since you didn't bring that with you, I'm going to dismiss the cell phone portion of your claim without prejudice. You can certainly sue him for that amount of money when you have the appropriate documents to back up your story. You don't have them today. Now let's get to the plane ticket. When was the plane ticket purchased?
July of 06.
July what?
I believe it was the 14th.
And when did you officially break up with him?
The last week of August.
When was this trip supposed to take place?
We were supposed to leave September 1st, and we broke up the very week before.
9/1. And where were you going?
We were going to Pennsylvania and Cleveland.
For what?
Pennsylvania to visit family, Cleveland to the Cleveland Clinic, and then to Canton to the Football Hall of Fame.
When did you purchase the ticket?
July 14th of 06.
Is that correct?
I'm not sure what the date was.
Well, I'm sure she has documents showing when she purchased the ticket and when you were supposed to leave.
I've never had, in my possession, I never had the ticket, so I don't know
It doesn't make any difference.
About it.
Because what I found interesting was you said that the reason you were going to Pennsylvania is to attend her grandfather's funeral. That's what you say. And I said to myself, well, how do you plan for something like that 2-3 weeks in advance? You know, I don't know whether her grandfather is alive or not, but you don't...
Her grandfather did pass away.
Yes.
On the trip that we were supposed to go to, her grandfather did pass away.
But he didn't pass away.
Shh. I have no idea what you just said to me.
Her grandfather passed away on the trip that we were on, that we were supposed to go to.
But you hadn't planned on going there for his funeral unless he had some sort of premonition that he was going, sir.
We did though, ma'am. It was something that was known for a while that
he was going to die while you were there?
Not while we were there, but
you sound ridiculous. You know, you sound ridiculous. You mean she wanted to go visit her grandfather because he was sick?
Right.
That's not what you said, Ian. You said that you planned to go to Pennsylvania to attend her grandfather's funeral.
Right.
He's not too smart.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I was out of work.
I don't care whether you were out of work.
And I let them know that I couldn't pay them immediately.
That's a different story. The word is immediately.
And later today,
The deer just took out from him.
Was the deer hurt?
Oh, it died.
What'd you do with it?
Ate it.
BS Drama.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stacy Levine says ex-boyfriend Rory Rodriguez owes for a cell phone bill and the cost of a plane ticket. Rory claims Stacy knew he wouldn't be able to pay her back.
Okay, tell me about the plane ticket.
We were going to go visit family in Pennsylvania and then move on to Cleveland. He was going to accompany me and my mother. My mother actually purchased the tickets and spoke with Rory on the phone. And
perfect. Can we step up? Your last name is?
Randall.
Miss Randall, tell me about the conversation you had with Mr. Rodriguez about this plane ticket.
On the day that we were purchasing the tickets, I spoke with him on the phone, and he told me he would reimburse Stacy for the airfare. And at the same time, we opened up the airline's frequent flyer mileage account for him, set that up, and it was my clear understanding from him during that conversation.
I don't want to hear your clear understanding.
Sorry.
I want to hear what he said to you.
He said he would reimburse Stacy for the cost of the airline ticket.
And then what happened? Thank you.
We broke up.
Yes?
And there was no reason for me to go on a trip with him if we weren't together.
Absolutely right, sir.
And at the same time,
was the ticket refundable?
It was non-refundable. I tried transferring it into my name so that I could use it. I was not able to do that. I told him that as soon as I knew that. I said, here's the ticket. You know, you can use it for up to a year later. I did not give it to him because he had not paid for it. And he still has until July 14th of this year to use it.
Did you have that discussion with him?
Yes, I did.
Do you remember that discussion when she said it's non-transferable, but you could use it for up to a year?
Yes.
Well, then you have to pay for it.
When we had talked originally about buying this ticket, I told her, this is the cell phone. I did not have money because
I believe her mother, her mother had the discussion with you, sir.
And
I believe her mother. I do not believe you that you didn't have that discussion with her mother.
I'm not saying that I didn't have a discussion with her mother, but what I'm saying is that I was out of work.
I don't care whether you were out of work.
And I let them know that I couldn't pay them immediately.
That's a different story. The word is immediately. So you don't intend to be unemployed forever.
When we had broken up, so there was no reason for me to even go on a trip with them.
Of course not, sir, but the ticket is non-refundable. I want you to try to expand your brain a little bit, Mr. Rodriguez. The fact that you broke up and you had non-refundable ticket, let's say instead of going to Pennsylvania, you were going with her to Cancun, Mexico, and you purchased 2 non-refundable tickets. She put it on her credit card. You broke up. There's no question. You said, listen, we're not going on this trip. She's not going to go alone. I'm not going to go alone. But the airline says to you, and they say to you, listen, if you cancel, we're not giving you money back, but you can reschedule within the next 6 months. She put it on her credit card. Do you think you're responsible to pay her for those tickets?
No.
Have an opportunity to use the tickets, but you can't say, I'm not going to touch those tickets. You promised the mother that you were going to pay her back for the tickets. You had an opportunity to use them for a year. You should have used them. And I suggest into gear because you still have a couple of days to use them. Figure out where you want to go. If you want to go to the Hall of Fame, that's a great place to go for a weekend. How much were the tickets?
$331.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $331. With regard to the cell phone bill, you bring the right proof. Either I'll entertain your application or another court of competent jurisdiction will do that. Thank you very much. Thank you. Goodbye. Have a happy life.
Parties are excused. Step out.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Dettenheim versus Dettenheim. Step forward, please.
Eve Dettenheim is suing her sister, Carol Dettenheim, for damaging her car when she ran into a deer. Carol says she offered her sister a portion of the deer meat as payment.
Miss Dettenheim, this is your sister.
Yes, ma'am.
According to your complaint, she took your car. Your neighbors? Yes. She took your car, you say without permission, had an accident. You want her to pay for the damage to your car. Your sister says she really had your permission because she used to borrow the car all the time. You left the back door open. She grabbed the keys. She needed some diapers or something. She wanted to go to the store. There was an accident. It was unavoidable. She hit a deer, damaged the car, and her defense is you should have had better insurance. Is that your defense?
I thought she had full coverage.
What made you think that?
I just didn't think.
You didn't think? What do you rely on to do your thinking?
I just use it all the time, and she wasn't home, so I went over there to get the key and went, and the deer just jumped out from under me.
Was the deer hurt?
Oh, it died.
Did you wait for somebody to come and take the carcass away?
No, I put pine straw over it and took the antler and went and got it later.
Went and got what later?
The deer.
What'd you do with it?
Ate it.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, and she even offered me some, but I'm not having rigor mortis stew.
It did not have rigor mortis on it.
That is sick.
Can I see pictures of your car, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you live, Miss Dettenheim?
Louisiana.
Where in Louisiana?
Haynesville.
How long have you and your sister been neighbors?
For 1 year.
Who moved close to whom?
She moved close to me.
You have an estimate to fix this car?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it, please. Are you angry with your sister?
A little bit. I feel like she needs to own up to the responsibility that she did damage my car and make what is wrong right.
So, what do you think?
Well, that night when I told her about the wreck, I thought it was just a headlight. And, we talked about it and everything. But then the next morning, she come over there just hollering at me, banging on my door, telling me how I owed her and all this. And I've helped her with a lot of stuff in the past and has made my life. I had to move because I still have the house, but I can't stay with her. She'll do stuff like rev up her engine in the morning, trying to wake up my son and stuff, trying to make my life hard, and it's become an issue. It's like the Hatfield McCoys or something. So,
do you work?
No, ma'am.
How do you support yourself?
My boyfriend.
Does he live with you?
Well, I'm staying with him now, just because it's just hard to be next to.
Well, when's the last time you were employed?
I'm a student right now. It's been almost a year I've been a stay-at-home mom.
A student of what?
I'm going to be a bail bondsman.
And how often do you go to school for that?
Right now, it's just a little course right now.
So why don't you work?
Because I don't have to.
Well, you have to because you owe your sister $1,300.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to have to owe $1,300.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. Thank you very much.
Your Honor.
Go back to Louisiana and be happy.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
And now the next case.
All parties on Levine versus Rodriguez. Step forward, please.
From a case earlier today, Stacy Lefebvre and Rory Rodriguez owes for an unpaid cell phone bill. Judge Judy adjourned the case, directing Stacy to procure the appropriate phone records.
Ms. Levine, I am advised by my court officer that you were able to secure subsequent phone bills. If my recollection is correct, when we last did the initial part of your case, Mr. Rodriguez says that he did not use the phone after the two of you broke up in August.
Correct. I have about 60
of
days.
2006. And you said that he racked up a substantial phone bill in the triple digits and used the phone after August. So that's where we left off, because the bill that you had did not demonstrate when the balance was accrued. Do you remember the telephone number of the phone that you had that Ms. Levine was paying for?
No, I know.
What was the telephone number?
51089.
Who was this lady?
This is my girlfriend.
Since when?
Since March of this year.
Well, she wouldn't know the old number. You only know his new phone number, right? What's his new phone number?
51896, I believe.
96?
I think so. We just got a new one a couple weeks ago.
What's with him and cell phones?
There's certain people I want to call me, and there's certain people I don't want to call me.
So you mean you change girlfriends, you change your cell phone?
No.
Can I please see the bills? What was his phone number?
5171.
That sound right to you, sir? See what month that is? Mr. Rodriguez.
September. $378. Mom.
Your mother. She wasn't calling your mother, right? And when that was September 30th. So I guess you were mistaken that you didn't use it in September, right? Here we go. I take September. Now, Mr. Rodriguez, you know what we're going to do?
No.
Would you like to do October?
Sure.
Or would you just like to pay her the money that you owe for the cell phone?
I can pay her.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Wisdom. How much is a cell phone bill?
$724.38.
We're adding on that to the plane ticket. Then you will be a free man, Mr. Rodriguez. Good?
Good.
Perfect. That's all. Thank you.
My judge, you may step out.
Still the same controlling person that she's always been.
I'm not controlling at all.
She knew that at the time I had a job, but we were in the summer, and that I had no money at that current moment.
He just was a bum.
I picked the wrong girl.
He got a new girlfriend, he got a new cell phone, broke up with her, and then got another new cell phone. So if you ever see him out, don't buy him a cell phone.
Under the matter of Kelly versus Sarna, parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Kelly, have you ever watched this courtroom program in the last 10 years? Ever watch me? Yeah. Ever watch me with women? Yeah. Ever watch me tell them, don't get him a credit card, don't take out a loan for him, don't buy him a cell phone, don't buy him clothes? Did you ever hear me say that? Yes, I have stupid right here. Now, in all the time that you've watched this program, can you think of a percentage of the times that you have the man on that side and the woman on that side of the bench, and he's complaining because he gave her credit cards and a cell phone and clothes, a computer, and got rims for her car? Can you think of how many times you saw that? Maybe on one hand in 10 years. It's always the other way around. You look like an intelligent woman. Why do you think that is, Miss Kelly? Because I was brought up that way. To what? To be honest and truthful. You weren't brought up to be a sucker. No, but that's what we're talking about. Yeah. Well, I didn't think I'd meet a con man either. Let's go back a bit. Okay. It's your claim that you met Mr. Sarna. You needed a car. To make a long story short, in September or October, he found a car. It was a very expensive car. What kind of car did you find, Mr. Sarna?
A Ford Expedition.
That's a pretty good car. And how much was the car, sir?
$45,000, I think, somewhere in that area.
$45,000. With tax and tags, it came up to